Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today we're working on our 2015 Kawasaki KLX 110. In a previous video, we'd started the diagnosis process of finding out why it didn't want to start. Of course, we started off by just replacing the battery. Well, pulled out a little bit of the fuel and it looks more like turpentine than it does gasoline. So what we need to do next, let's go ahead and pull that carb and get it cleaned. So let me go grab a couple of tools and I'll show you how to get it done. Really short list on this one. A couple of different type of pliers, a Phillips and a flat blade screwdriver, 8mm wrench and 8mm sockets. All you're going to need to get this done. All right, let's start by shutting off the fuel and go ahead and drain whatever's left in that float bowl. All right, close that back off. Lift that tube up out of the way. Basically going into the intake runner, there's an 8mm on either side. All right, let's go ahead and get the fuel input pulled off. Usually once I get the clamp out of the way, I usually just squeeze on it just to break it loose, and then she'll pull off. All right, I want to be careful to grab this little spacer out. Make sure you remember which way it goes in. The little rubber O-ring actually goes into the intake, and then there's another O-ring that's actually in the carburetor housing itself. Next, we need to get it disconnected from the intake plenum, which goes up to your air box. There we go. Next, go ahead and remove that breather line. Go and get the throttle cable pulled. Well, actually, we're going to just pull the slide out. That's what we're going to end up doing. A little bit of a tear there. Won't keep it from operating, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to as far as keeping dirt out of there. Next, let's go ahead and get this choke cable off of there. I think we're going to do something like that and just pop that out through that slot. All right, let's head over to the teardown bench, get this float bowl off, and take a peek inside. While I'm over at the teardown bench working on the carb, now would be a good time to go ahead and drain the fuel out of the tank. Turn it to reserve and just let it drain. Just make sure you've got a container large enough to hold the volume in here. It's a little over a gallon if memory serves. So let's get over to the teardown bench and get that carburetor pulled apart. All right, let's take a peek in here and see what we've got. It's probably not going to be that bad, but I just want to get this done once. That way I don't have to worry about it. Chances are it may have started, but the idle jet is so small on these that it's very easy for it to get stopped up. And it would probably run, but it wouldn't idle at all, hardly. All right, not that bad. A little bit of a goop down in the bottom, and that's the kind of stuff that'll stop up your carb. So this was definitely worth pulling apart. We're going to go ahead and pull the float bowl off. What you're looking for is that little rubber piece. Make sure it's not cracked or anything. So that's what seals off your float bowl and keeps it at a certain level. Let's go ahead and pull those jets. Spray those out with a little carb cleaner. Maybe some compressed air. I think we're going to be just fine. All right, see the end of that one? It was just barely starting to stop up right there. Got a little bit of gook that's starting to build up. Get your main jet out. All right, so let me go grab just a can of carb cleaner and we can get this sprayed out. It's really going to be all we need for this one. It doesn't need to go in the ultrasonic cleaner or anything like that. I can tell you from past experience, this stuff, it works great. Do not let it get in your eyes, because guarantee you, as you're spraying through all these little areas, it's going to splash back up on you. And if you do that, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So make sure you've got some glasses and or safety glasses on. All right, let's start with our main. Put it right on the tip. Go through the main there. Go into our idle. See what I'm talking about? It's spitting back at me. That looks cleaned out. Let's get that idle jet, see what she looks like. That's good to go. Let's clean out that float bowl. When you're doing this, you want to try to keep it off of this rubber because it'll actually make it expand, and then you'll have one heck of a time trying to get it to go back in that channel. So just spray a little bit in the bottom, use your finger to kind of work it around, and then just dump it straight out. Dry it off quick so it doesn't damage that bottom O-ring. All right, that looks a little bit better now, doesn't it? Let's get her put back together. Get your main back in. Next, do the idle jet. Remember, these are brass, so it doesn't take a lot of torque to get them in there. Next, let's get your float back in there. Kind of do this at an angle to where that needle stays in place. Get your pivot pin in, and just get your float bowl on. Keep in mind that that little area right there lines up over on this side. All right, pretty simple procedure, right, guys? All right, I want to clean up the outside just a little bit, just because I'm OCD like that. So I want it to look good when it goes back on the machine. All right, we've got her reassembled, cleaned up a little bit. All that's left now is just to reinstall it on the machine. So to get the carburetor put back on is essentially just the opposite of what it took to take it off. All right, guys, let's go ahead and turn our fuel back on. And while that's refilling the float bowl, I want to mention that that top vent that's actually where the throttle slide is, I didn't connect that hose when I was actually putting the carburetor back in. So then I had to actually remove the two bolts that hold on this air box to swing it out of the way to get that hose reattached. So do yourself a favor. Attach it before you actually put the carburetor in. Makes it a whole lot easier. All right. So we've got fuel. We know we've got a good battery. It's refilling the bowl as we speak. And we're going to go ahead and flip it on and see if she starts. All right. But guess what? That means there's still another problem. And this happens when these machines sit up for too long. So what we need to do next is go diagnose the actual spark or the ignition system on it. Well, that will complete this particular video. If you need any of the parts or chemicals that we used for it, to get it this far, come see us at partsilla.com and we can get you taken care of. And until the next video, I just want to say thanks for watching, and let's get over there and figure out what's wrong with this ignition system now.